Even though the city has got relief from the heat wave, pollution levels in Delhi have soared. Over the past days, the air quality index has fluctuated between 250 to 300, placing many areas in Delhi in very poor category. An orange alert has been issued across much of the city due to deteriorating air quality. GRAP 2 is likely to be imposed in the national capital, and unfortunately we see this happening year after year after year. The situation that we are facing currently is not because of the Diwali crackers, not because of the pollution caused by vehicles or industrial pollution. In fact, we have heard this non-stop this year, and it is not because of, in fact it is because of the aftermath of stubble burning. Punjab has recorded 1300 cases of stubble burning already. And a year ago, NewsX introduced the stubble burning plan as a solution to this problem. We are now reintroducing this plan to ensure that Delhiites breathe clean air this time around. It is not rocket science. It's not a solution to cancer that we are looking at. We are at this point of time looking at a cohesive cooperation between all the states, all the government officials, all our politicians and ministers to finally end once and for all the menace of pollution which is caused by Parali burning. Let's start our conversation, but before that I have with us a soundbite of Aam Aadmi Party leader and minister in the Delhi government, Gopal Rai. Listen to what he said.
देश की राजधानी दिल्ली में लगातार प्रदूषण का स्तर बढ़ता जा रहा है, जिसको देखते हुए इमरजेंसी मीटिंग जो है वो भी दिल्ली सरकार की तरफ से बुलाई गई थी। हमारे साथ बातचीत करने के लिए पर्यावरण मंत्री गोपाल राय जी मौजूद हैं। गोपाल जी, आज इमरजेंसी मीटिंग जो है वो बुलाई गई है, क्या वजह लग रही है जो लगातार प्रदूषण का स्तर बढ़ता जा रहा है और क्या कुछ फैसले आज लिए गए?
देखिए, अब मौसम में तेजी से बदलाव हो रहा है। 14 अक्टूबर से पहले हमने देखा जब बारिश हो रही थी, हवा चल रही थी, तो प्रदूषण का स्तर काफी कम था। क्यों कम था? क्योंकि जो पोल्यूशन के कम थे पूरे वायुमंडल में फैल रहे थे। अब मौसम बदल रहा है, बारिश बंद हो चुकी है, हवा कम हो रही है और अब टेम्परेचर डाउन जा रहा है, तो उसकी वजह से जितने पोल्यूशन के कण हैं वो वायुमंडल में फैलने की जगह नीचे आ रहे हैं। इसलिए अब वो ज्यों-ज्यों ठंड बढ़ती है प्रदूषण का स्तर बढ़ता है। अभी दिल्ली के अंदर जो प्रदूषण का स्तर है वो पुअर कैटेगरी में है, लेकिन कुछ स्थानों पर वो काफी ज्यादा दिख रहा है। इसलिए आज जो हमने इमरजेंसी मीटिंग बुलाई थी वो 13 ऐसे क्षेत्र निर्धारित किए गए हैं जहां पे प्रदूषण का स्तर ज्यादा हो रहा है। उसको हॉट स्पॉट जिसको हम कहते हैं, उसको कैसे नियंत्रित किया जाए, उसके लिए आज हमने बैठक बुलाई थी। उसमें महत्वपूर्ण 3-4 निर्णय हमने लिए हैं। पहला तो यह है कि हर हॉट स्पॉट्स के लिए अलग अलग कार्य योजना बनाने का निर्देश दिया गया है। दूसरा, एक हर हॉट स्पॉट के लिए कोऑर्डिनेशन कमेटी बनाई गई है। कल से वो ग्राउंड विजिट करेंगे और उसके लिए एक्शन प्लान जो है वो ग्राउंड पर जो है उतारने के लिए जो है वो अभियान शुरू करेंगे। तीसरा, पीडब्ल्यूडी की तरफ से एंटी जो मोबाइल स्मॉग गन है उनको करीब 80 हमने हॉट स्पॉट्स पे केवल डिप्लॉय किए हैं, जिससे वहाँ जो डस्ट पोल्यूशन है उसको और कंट्रोल किया जा सके।
सर, एक्शन तो लिए जा रहे हैं, लेकिन अगर बात करें तो जो स्मॉग गन्स लगाई गई हैं वो स्मॉग टावर्स वो काम नहीं कर रहे हैं और कहीं ना कहीं आरोप प्रत्यारोप जो है वो लगाया जा रहा है। लेकिन इस क्राइसिस के बीच टावर्स का काम ना करना कितनी बड़ी समस्या है?
नहीं, पहली बात तो मैं आरोप प्रत्यारोप तो नहीं है, हमने तो किसी के ऊपर कोई आरोप नहीं लगाए। हम तो काम कर रहे हैं और भाजपा की सरकारों से भी निवेदन कर रहे हैं कि थोड़ा आप भी काम करो। दिल्ली में हमारी सरकार है, दिल्ली के चारों तरफ भाजपा की सरकार है। बगल में जाओ तो उत्तर प्रदेश में भाजपा की सरकार है, इधर हरियाणा में भाजपा की सरकार, इधर राजस्थान में भाजपा की सरकार है, केंद्र में भाजपा की सरकार है। और भाजपा का नेता क्या कर रहे हैं? सारे मंत्री भाजपा के सो रहे हैं और भाजपा का नेता जा करके कनॉट प्लेस में जो है नौटंकी कर रहे हैं। दिल्ली के अंदर सुप्रीम कोर्ट के आदेश के अनुसार 2 स्मॉग टावर बनाए गए पायलट बेसिस पे।
All right, so unfortunately our politicians are again playing the blame game. Joining me on the telecast is Dillip Cherian, and let's hear from Mr. Cherian about the sad situation that continues to occur again and again and again. We have been raising this issue. The Supreme Court pulls up the officials and the government employees and of course the politicians and the leaders and the ministers, but nothing really seems to change. We have put out that plan of Parali burning, how it can be reduced, what are the costs involved. It seems to fall on deaf ears. How do Delhiites save themselves from the health complications that they have to face, where their lifespan continues to reduce rapidly because of the bad air we breathe?
The only answer, I think, is much more direct action by citizens. Clearly, nothing that is said seems to be working with any of the governments that have been named. None of them seem to care. In fact, I was just talking to some RWA leaders in Gurgaon who were weeping about the fact that just the simple act of garbage collection is tardy and not functioning efficiently. Pollution affects everybody, garbage affects everybody, bad water affects everybody. I think citizens have to take these things into their own hands and make sure that governments listen. Media coverage has been, and I'm delighted that it is starting earlier than in usual years. Most times it begins after Diwali, and I'm so happy that we are actually on this program well before Diwali, because the problem is big. The problem is continuous. And as the minister himself conceded, it is just that when we have very hot weather, then the pollution gets dissipated much faster into the higher atmosphere. The generation of pollution is a reality. Its lack of control is the fault of government taking those big decisions. Technology is not the problem. Presumably, in the case of a rich city like Delhi, money should not be the problem. What is the problem is that citizens need to make sure that their elected representatives hear, understand, and fear the voice of the citizen.
Okay. I also have with me Padma Shri Dr. Sanjeev Bagai. We're living in a smoke chamber, and you cannot even step out of your house, which have now become prisons, because it's impossible to even take a walk, stand outside for 5 minutes, because you can actually breathe the air and you smell the smoke. You see the haziness just a few meters from the place that you're standing. How adversely impactful is this situation for not just young people, but also for elderly who are already suffering from respiratory issues, and there are of course children who then end up living their entire lives and they somehow get used to this entire situation. I remember when I shifted to Delhi first, I just could not breathe and I had to take all the precautions, but somehow now I'm just used to this entire situation.
Good evening. I think it's a complete failure of prevention, failure of a vision plan. These are band-aid solutions which these people who are elected, unfortunately by us, who dish out during the winter period, be it the Parali burning, be it the road dust, be it absolutely absurd construction norms, be it the terrible waste management all over Delhi and so on. But really the important points is, let's put some statistics on the table so that it impacts the viewers when they are listening to this. More than 2 million Indians are dying because of air pollution every year. 61% of all diseases, non-communicable, are actually pushed along the way by air pollution. We are losing approximately 8 to 10 years of our adult life living in Delhi. I mean, smokers live elsewhere, legends live in Delhi. I mean, this is being ridiculous to be inhaling this kind of stuff. 339 is the AQI right now, 10 minutes back in Delhi. It's coming under the hazardous zone. More than 25 body organs are directly impacted by air pollution. Just allow me a couple of minutes so that I can spell it out. The air pollution, when we talk of it, it contains particulate matter. That means PM 2.5, PM 5, PM 10. Gases, which include SOx, NOx, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, methane, benzene, hydrofluorocarbons, volatile organic compounds, carcinogens, which all cause cancers, heavy metals, dust, smoke, free radicals, and biohazardous droplets. These are all inhaled by us. What does it do inside? I'll just mention just 3 or 4 organs so that people can understand where we are going. Even 15 minutes of exposure to this kind of hazardous levels of AQI can precipitate heart disease, and lung infection. We are having an increased risk of cancers, premature births, fetuses are being impacted, higher risk of hypertension, chronic obstructive lung disease, bronchial asthma, and so on. These are largely preventable. We don't have to be nuclear scientists to understand that pollution is a 12-month long problem. It surfaces now because it's hurting us, but it's hurting us all the months, all through the year. There has been no long-term plan, be it public transport, be it cleaning of the roads. It's a failure of seeing what is hurting us. This is directly causing morbidity and mortality. And I would request the AAP government to get its act together instead of blaming each other. If we are going to see 22% increase in cancers overall of the gut, pancreas, CA breast, CA lung, if we are going to see our brains being demyelinated, we are going to have cognitive loss, we are going to have memory loss because of this, precipitation of strokes, precipitation of heart attacks, early deaths, not fair. We pay our taxes for a minimum standard of living. We are only asking what is required to live in.
Yeah.
Over to you.
Anand Arya, he is an environmentalist also on the telecast with me and a resident of Delhi. Anand Arya, how do we deal with this, the harmful impact on the environment because of Parali burning? But is there a solution at hand? Because today people just don't want to come to Delhi and live over here. People are looking for alternatives, wanting to buy homes in other parts of the country. In fact, there are many who actually decide to shift from Delhi to another city for a period of 2 to 3 months simply to avoid the pollution problem and save themselves from this hazard.
You see, shifting from Delhi is probably possible for a few people, but for the long-time residents, and you're talking about, Delhi and the immediate NCR, Noida and Gurgaon included, we're talking about 3 crore people. Now, we have known what exactly causes the pollution, how the pollution affects the human being, and even the wildlife, I would say. Now, we know exactly who is supposed to do what. Earlier we had the EPCA, a Supreme Court mandated committee, authority. Now we have a CAQM, the Center for Air Quality Management. So we know. Now the question is, we know. Now the question is, the answer to this is actually the implementation of the actions which have been identified not to yesterday or day before. For the last 10 years, we have had on our table what is to be done and by who. Now, unfortunately, even the directions coming from the Supreme Court and the NGT are not being implemented. Let me just give you 2 examples of this. One, Yamuna, way back in 2015, I think it was January or so, the NGT wrote an excellent judgment where it defined exactly what is to be done for Yamuna to be clean in 2 years. Very little has done. Now, who is responsible for this? You read that judgment and you would know exactly who is responsible for this. Supreme Court mandated 14 years ago that there should be a very efficient public transport, including 11,000 buses on road. How many do we have? I mean, these are the actions on which both Supreme Court and the NGT can pull up the bureaucracy and the executive. Unfortunately, even, our Supreme Court is just holding meetings. It's a gas chamber. It is this problem. I cannot breathe. My children cannot breathe. My dog cannot breathe. You have Article 142. You punish because nothing gets done. You see, you have to fix. There is an accountability. We have also assigned responsibility, which has been done by the Supreme Court, by the NGT, by CAQM, by EPCA. Now, if somebody doesn't do it, How do you do it? You have to
Okay.
make them responsible and punish them.
Okay.
So unless and until the Supreme Court takes, so today I think it is, we have seen everyone else failing. So where do we go as a citizen? Where do I go? I go and complain to the Supreme Court. Okay, look, my fundamental right to life is being threatened. In my own case, the Supreme Court has said that environment is part of right to life. Now, if the Supreme Court doesn't punish anyone, and I can tell you this, I mean, we have known it from the time that we were children. If there was a noise in the class, one student, who was making a noise, or the monitor, or anyone,
Yeah.
if one
Okay.
was punished,
But then the
whole
point
class would rise.
comes then, are the governments going to be pulled up? Is the environment minister then going to be penalized for it? Has this ever happened in the history of our country that governments get pulled up and they have to pay the price, bear the brunt for the actions or the lack of them that they have committed?
See, to my mind, I think we know exactly. Yes, some punishment has to come on the road.
Okay.
And unless and until somebody is punished and is made to really test the, taste the hard jail, air of the hard jail. Once one person does it, let us say let him be the chief executive of the Jal Board or the chairman of the DTC who have failed to do their job. The judicial directions they have not followed. They are not following the CAQM.
Okay. Okay,
Now,
fair enough.
Parali is only 25% at the peak. Now, what about the rest of the 75? As my co-panelist Dr. Bagai said, that he said 24/7, 365 days to work.
Okay.
It's a 24 hours, 365 days.
Okay,
The government
okay,
has to
all right,
work
sir.
and attend it.
Yeah,
So
okay.
unless
Yeah, also,
they do it-
I got your points. I'll also, paucity of time, I would also like to get Sudhir Krishna on the telecast with me. And Mr. Krishna, Delhi being the national capital, there are people from across the globe that visit Delhi for tourism purposes, for business purposes. There are diplomatic delegations, there are trade ties that India has with various countries, and then the first place that one would think of is to arrive in Delhi. And in a situation such as this, where we call Delhi to be a smart city, it perhaps really isn't.
Well, I think I should say that while it is very important to understand and try to find the resolution also of the problem, but I should just inform your viewers that air pollution is not confined to Delhi. It is a global problem. And if you see the top 100 most polluted cities in the world, air quality wise, Delhi is there, no doubt, but it is somewhere in the middle. And many cities of China and USA are in that list. And all are struggling and there are issues. And so, number one. Number two, within India, Delhi is not alone. I mean, we have fabled cities like Chandigarh and Indore. They are also in the company of Delhi in the top 100 most air polluted cities, AQI being poor. So the issues have to be examined, number one. I mean, generally I am saying that it is not to reduce the problem what has been highlighted by you and other panelists. I respect all that and say that they are all correct. But I should say that the government has done a lot in the right direction. Right? For example, mass transportation system. Today Delhi Metro is transporting as many as 70 million passengers per day. It is a humongous, very large number. Of course, on the other flip side is Delhi Transport Corporation, the DTC has not been able to rise to the occasion. They have not increased their fleet. They should do that. But DTC, the DMRC is doing a great job. And imagine there was no DMRC, 70 million people on the road, what would have happened? So that is one thing. Secondly, the Delhi has to become greener. Delhi is pretty green already, but green has to go up. If you see the locality-wise, neighborhood-wise AQI, the best areas are New Mumbai and the Dwarka area, where we are much greener than the rest. We have to enhance the greenery. Water bodies, they are going to put that smog gun and all that. I think better than that will be increasing the water bodies in the city. water bodies like fountains and lakes and so on. Wherever we can develop water bodies. Fountains can be developed, it is not difficult. The green can be made thicker green. Avenue plantation, older areas of New Delhi area is greener than the older Delhi area because we have removed trees. So more greenery is required, more water bodies are required. And then waste management is a challenge. Solid waste management for all cities, including Delhi, has remained a challenge that has to be tackled in a more concerted way. Technology is available, funds are available. I mean, even the 15th Finance Commission has given a special grant to cities to reduce the air pollution. First time ever in the 75 years, cities have been assigned a special grant if they are able to control air quality. So there are a lot of efforts for stubble burning, which was rightly highlighted by the fellow panelists, is also a challenge. But stubble burning, there are a lot of schemes are there to encourage farmers, but the big challenge,
Yeah, okay. And unfortunately, there's a lot of politics also involved, and therefore governments themselves don't want to find themselves in a tricky situation because appeasement of farmers gets them votes. All right, let's quickly hear it from Dillip Charan. And Dillip, how are you going to manage the next couple of months living in Delhi?
To it at an individual level is not appropriate at the city level, and individuals can manage to cope with air purifiers in homes and cars. But is that a functional problem for an entire city? The answer is no. I think that we all need to make sure that children in schools, students in colleges take it upon themselves to impress upon their municipal and their legislative and their members of parliament that you need to go out there and solve this problem for us. It's not something that citizens can solve in their own hands, but I think direct action by citizens will make a difference. And I'm happy to be part of those movements.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.